אוקיי. פה עכשיו לעקוב עיר ומניין. אוקיי. לבית עמוד ב' תוספות. I want to take a quick vote. Who wants me to go over the tosafot again? Everybody. Who doesn't want me to go over the tosafot again? Everybody. To go over the tosafot. Should we go over the tosafot and Maran? למה לא? So let's do it again. So, quick, the Gemara שלנו רבונות. ג' אבות בשור. הקרן והשן והרגל. קרן מנהלה, לפן הרבונות כי יגע חן ידחה אלה בקרן. שנאמר, ויעש לוט, יפגע בן כנענה כזה בזה. ויאמר כה אמר השם באלה תנגח את הרע. פסוק 1. פסוק 2, ואומר בכל שורו הדר לו, בקרני ראם קרנה. בהם עמים ינגח. מה אם אומר, what do we need the second פסוק 4? חיתם את דברי תורה מדברי קבלה לא ילפינן, תשמע בכל שורו הדר לו. ולגמור שכח, ואי, גיל הפוך. גילוי מילתא בעלמא, הוא יתעשה גילוי. And it's not telimud. It's not telimud you can learn from Kabbalah. Kabbalah cannot teach you new dinim into the Torah. Kabbalah can define you what's written in the Torah. The Gemara said, ונכלל לקראנו אלא מה עוד התאימה, what you would have thought, כיפה להתרחמנה בין תם למועד, הנמיני בתלושה. בחילוק בין תם למועד יצרוני בקרן תלושה. אבל מחוברת, איפיץ, מחוברת, אימא, כולה מועדת היא. מחוברת would have thought, it is fully מועדת. ובוטי נזק שלם, לקפוץ את פסוק בצדקיה יצרוני בתלושה. תשמע בכל שורו עד ארלות, even מחוברת, it considers קרן, וישלם חצי נזק. תוספות. אבל במחוברת אימא כולה מועדת היא לשלם חצי נזק. שלם נזק שלם, אפילו בפעם הראשונה. So tosafot said, more understood, אבל מחוברת מועדת would cause you to pay more than תלושה. תלושה we know from the Torah חצי נזק, כי would have thought מחוברת will be נזק שלם.
למה כתוב כולה מועדת היא? מה זה הכולה? למה המילה הזאת?
I think even after 3 times he's referring. Kula, not always.
What do you mean after?
Even the first, even in
time?
the first 3 times, it's still moedet.
I thought it would mean
By klusha is a chatzi tam v'chatzi muad, meaning half of it, first 3 times tam, the remaining is muad. Here kula moedet.
Kula would not be a toleda of the keren?
Oh, no, that's actually
meaning because kula meaning
that's kiga, that's negicha.
Okay.
אני חשבתי גם אם היא תעשה נגיפה או דבר אחר, היא גם נחשב כמועדת, אפילו שהיא כבר...
זה מה שהתכוונתי תולדה. זה גם...
יכול להיות. יכול להיות, possible.
היא כבר מועדת בקרן, היא תהיה מועדת לכל.
כן, זה מה שחשבתי.
תהיה מועדת לקרן, תהיה כבר מועדת לכל.
נמשיך הלאה, ואם תאמר, ומאי טיטי, כמה אני אוהב אותך עכשיו, ומאי טיטי, where would you learn ומחוברת, כולה will be מועדת. אם היא תלושה, אפילו נגד פון תלושה, דייה לבא מן הדין להיות כנידון. then will be חצי נזק. אם היא שהערבות, אפילו נגד פון the rest of the אבות. עתינך למאן דאמר קרן עדיפה, לכוונתו להזיק. The second man דאמר in the Gemara, the second option in the Gemara in daf A was קרן עדיפה, כוונתו להזיק. That means קרן it's more חמור. then really you have no problem, ואפילו קרן עתי, and even Keren would have been learned out from it, as Rabbeinu Tam explained. Meaning the question of tosafot is valid only according to the Eilige Rabbeinu Tam. דהיינו למאן דאמר, when the Gemara over there said Keren Adifa shekavanato leazik, the end of the Gemara in daf A, that's only למאן דאמר פלגניז כממונה. He hold that the Itlei hold that stam shvarim lav bechizkat shimur kaimi. Since stam shvarim is not considered as shmurim, if they are not shmurim, you should be chayav from the Torah. There's a special leniency that you pay only half. So when we said keren adifa shekavanato lehazik, that's leman da'amar palganizka mamona. So if you learn keren shekavanato lehazik, you could have learned it out from. You can learn a mechuberet from all the other avot between bor and one of them. אבל למען דאמר פן לגניזקה כנסה, they want to hold that it's a knas, דאית לסתם שברים בחזקת שימור קיימה, or hold the סתם שברים are considered as being watched, לא עתיה קרן מכולו. קרן would not be learned out of it. כדאמרינא לקמן, because we said later on, כי שדית בור בניו, עתו כולו. If you're going to put בור between other אבות, you can learn everything. לבר מקרן. Why קרן I cannot learn? דאיקה למברח שכן מועדים בתחילתן. What's מועדים בתחילתן? other אבות, which is not like קרן, פירוש דרכם להזיק. משאין כן בקרן, זה בחזקת שימור קיימה. And if so, since the beginning of the Gemara over there, that we said that you can learn everything beside Bo, Rabbi Mitam explained that only according למאן דאמר, but נזכר כנסה, סתם שברים בחזקת שימור קיימה, therefore I cannot learn כנסה, the first one.
Mamona is the first one.
You were right, but it's not the first one. Meaning, we were saying Knasa was the right thing, but unless you meant the first time, then it's Mamona. What did you mean?
So, if you learn that Palganizka Mamona, it's not a question. נכון? If you learn Palganizka Knasa, it's a question. So at the beginning we said that you cannot learn out the first part of the Gemara in Daf Hey, you cannot learn out Keren from other Avot. That's למאנדר Palganizka Knasa. The סתם שברים בחזקת שימור קיימי. And if so, why would you think that קרן מחוברת would be נזק שלם if you have no word to learn it out from? So very clear, the Tosafot is talking about דווקא לשיטת רבנו תם. We'll go over the Maharam in a minute, but the point of Tosafot, the difference between Palganizka Knasa and Mamona, it's only meaning with the Gemara over there, it's למאן דאמר Palganizka Knasa, that you can learn everything beside Keren, it's only לפי רבינו תם. לפי Rashi, it's not a question, and the Maharam will explain why it's not a question according to Rashi.
Okay, so just a clarification. Nizka Mamona is the fact that you were supposed to pay nezek shalem, it's more hamur, but Torah had pity on the owner.
Right.
Mashma, as there's understanding, so knasa means you're really patur because you guarded the ox, but then you have to pay a chatzi nezek because of knas. As it meaning that's the fine.
Right.
That's the chiluk. Nachon? Clarification? Okay.
ויש לו אימר אין סוד תוספות. Now, those of you who saw the Maharam on Tosafot got confused with the words of Tosafot, the way it fit it inside. There are a few ways to read Tosafot. We're going to focus now on the Maharam, and later, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll see other ways of reading Tosafot. I'm saying it because those who have like משהו מפריע במילים, there is another way of reading it according to Pnei Yeshua. But now we stick into the Maharam, so shouldn't be trolling. ויש לו אימר, אין סוד תוספות, למאן דאמר פלגניזקה כנסה. הדאמר, אבל במחוברת אימא כולה מועדת היא, וישלם נזק שלם בפעם הראשונה. When we assume here in הגמרא that כולה מועדת היא, ישלם נזק שלם, לאו משום דאיצטריך קרא להשמועינן דאין מועדת. It's not that the Torah needs to teach us that although מחוברת it's Keren, but it's not considered as, it's not moeded. Meaning, from the Torah, we assume on the question that mechuberet it's part of Keren already, and therefore the Torah is telling you, by the way, although it's part of Keren, I need to teach you that pays chatzi nezek. That's not the message of the Gemara, because if this is how we learn, that on the Torah, mechuberet, we assume it's Keren, and the chidush of the Torah, bechol shoro adar lo, that it shouldn't be nezek shalem, rather should be chatzi nezek, that's bringing the shayla of Tosafot. If the Torah understood that it's part of Keren, what's the characteristics of Keren? Kavanato, la bechazkat shimur בחזקת שימור קיימה, right? ולמד אמר פלגניזקה כנסה. Since we all the בחזקת שימור קיימה, then why the Torah need to teach me that מחוברת, it's not שלם נזק שלם, because I have no word to learn out בכלל, that מחוברת will pay נזק שלם, which is as a shaila of Tosafot. So Tosafot says that it's not that the Gemara teaching us It's not the answer of the Gemara. I would have thought from the Torah, Keren, it's part of the Torah, Mechuberet, it's part of Keren. And the Torah is teaching us that even though it's part of Keren, I want you to know that Pei is Chatzi Nezek and not Nezek Shalem, because then you have a problem. If this is how you learn that the Gemara is talking about the Torah, that the Torah thought, we thought the Torah, in the Torah, that Keren Mechuberet, Nezek Shalem, the Torah need to teach us Chatzi Nezek, that doesn't make sense, because I don't need the Torah to teach me something that I couldn't even think of. You wouldn't think that Mechuberet would pay Nezek Shalem, because if it's part of Keren, then the Chazkat Shemur Kaimeh, so why would it pay Nezek Shalem? You have nowhere to learn it out from.
It would be just like a Tusha.
Will be like the Shusha, right? So why would the Torah Bavorni? So the fundamental point of Tosafot, the way the Maram explained, don't think that the Torah is teaching you, that the Torah wants to Bavon herself. Be'emet, Mechuberet is part of Keren, that logically will be Nezek Shalem, and therefore the Torah telling you, no, it's Chatzi Nezek. Because then you have a problem. If it was already part of Keren, then you wouldn't think Bechal that Mechuberet Meshalem Nezek Shalem, Me'echititi, where we learn it out from. Ella, rather...
So that would bring you back to Tosafot's first question you said.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you learn it's the Torah, then you have a problem what the Torah was thinking. If it's part of Keren, Bechazkat Shemur Kaimeh, Bechazkat Shemur Kaimeh, you wouldn't learn out anything different that you shouldn't pay more than that. Ella, התנא הוא צריך להשמעינן. The Tana needs to teach us. להביא ראיה מן הפסוק, דמחוברת נמי אבה בכלל נגיחה. So the difference is, it's not the Torah assume that מחוברת it's נגיחה, and then the Torah telling you, by the way, pays חצי נזק. Rather, the Tana, the Torah didn't say that מחוברת בכלל it's part of נגיחה. Rather, from the Torah, מחוברת has a different name. Muchi Muchi. Huh? Huh? No, not Negifa. That's in the Torah. So Mechuberet has it Mechuberes. So there is a name, 5 overs, one of them is Mechuberes, what you would have thought. So the Tana, Bavorin. I thought, says the Tana, that Mechuberet has an identity by itself. Kamash Malan, that Mechuberet is part of Negicha, and if so, it's limited to the meaning of the
pasuk is coming to limit mechuberet.
The pasuk is trying to teach you that mechuberet is also part of negicha. We thought the pasuk, the Tana thought mechuberet is not part of negicha. Komash malon, mechuberes is not mechuberes anymore. It's mechuberet. It's part of negicha. It's not an identity by itself.
Because if you were to say that it's within its own category, you would have learned that.
Then you could have learned from the other nezakim. Okay.
It wouldn't fit in.
Right. So let's read Tosafot again. Is Tosafot the answer clear, or any?
לא סיימת אבל זה תוספות.
שלא תיתן לומר דנגיחה היינו בתלושה דום ידי קרני ברזל דתתקייה. You shouldn't think נגיחה of the Torah, it's only by תלושה. אבל במחוברת, דרכו להזיק מתחילתו, אין it's מחוברס. ונלמוד מבו באחד מהאבות, let's learn from the other אבות, לחייבון נזק שלם לכתחילה. כלומר שמלון, there is no such a thing מחוברס. Rather, it's מחוברת and it's part of קרן.
Part of Negicha.
part of נגיחה של קרן. So far?
But then that way,
So it comes out that you would perhaps think that even בממונה you would think, okay, I'm going to pay נזק שלם. So it comes now the pasuk and says, even בממונה, במחוברת, you think you pay נזק שלם? No. You're actually going to come and pay חצי נזק.
Even קנס היינו.
No, even בממונה, because we said בממונה you still pay נזק, you pay חצי נזק because the Torah had רחמים, pity, so it works consistent.
אני רואה את זה חלק מהמערב.
אוקיי. אני לא זוכרתי.
So simple, pshat, we thought it's in the Torah מחוברת, and if מחוברת it's part of the Torah. What I need the Torah to teach me that pays חצי נזק. Part of the Torah, you couldn't learn בכלל that משלם נזק שלם. כמה שלנו, it's not part of the Torah. I would have thought that's a Tana approach, that it's a מחוברס. And so the Gemara, no, it's not מחוברס, rather it is מחוברת.
I wouldn't need the Torah to perform this question.
No. מה זה בבורן? אמרתי.
כן.
To set up,
לא to set up.
to set you up so you won't think.
Right, to prevent you from thinking. שלא תחשוב, להוציא מדעתך.
זה יידיש?
להוציא מכן.
זה אמרתי אולי זה מילה באנגלית, לא שמעתי אותה.
מצב טוב.
כן, warning.
To avoid the question, to
Hey
avoid
Siri,
the
define בוורנינג.
מבר, בגמרא, מחוץ ל... עכשיו
To
יש
set you up so you won't ask that question.
כמו מחוץ ל, מבר ל.
You won't think that
כמו
way.
בגמרא.
איפה זה מגיע ככה? יהיה לנו בישיבה. עכשיו, okay, let's do the Ma'ara. So we have two sections from Ma'ara, A and B. Since we're talking about the last part of tosafot, should we do the second one or first one? Second one, נכון?
מה second one?
Ma'ara. You know what, let's go by the order, okay, just to keep our 2 days in running. So, first Ma'ara, the longest one is the simplest one. He emphasizing the following. Tisbeh says that the kasha is the Eiliger, Freidiger, Nichtiger, Zistiger, Rabbeinu Tam. It's a shaila only according to Rabbeinu Tam. So, the Maharam explained why it's a shaila only according to Rabbeinu Tam. Because when the Gemara in Daf Hey said that Kulu, Ya'ati Keren, Kisha Dibor Benai Yo'ati Levar Mekeren, when the Gemara says that, we understand that Kulu Levad Mekeren, why? Because Sheken Muadin
תחילתם.
מתחילתם. So the way Rashi learns Sheken Muadin מתחילתם means what? That, לא. The way Rashi learns Muadin מתחילתם, נזק שלם and חצי נזק. So Rashi learns that Keren, that all of the avot are נזק שלם. Keren, חצי נזק. If so, you cannot learn חצי נזק from נזק שלם. So Rashi doesn't talk achlal about the characteristics of shor, of keren. You just talk the payment. So the Gemara says that the payment of shor is different than the payment of other avot. So based the way Rashi learns, you have zero kashi, because we don't know from the Gemara in Daf Hey that keren בחזקת שימור, עולה בחזקת שימור, it's not a topic, that's not the subject. מועדים בתחילתן has nothing to do with the שמירה, it has to do with the payment. So therefore, since we're talking about payment, you cannot ask me that Keren it's considered בחזקת שימור. What do you say בחזקת שימור? Nothing, no education about it.
No, but in more depth it is, Mark. It is though. In more depth it is, because if you say Chatzinezek, which means that it's a love.
You're right that if you go down, but we trying to understand it before the Gemara, right? So if you have nothing reading in the Torah, you wouldn't say that. If you say the problem of Keren is the payment according to Rashi, so Rashi clearly understood there is no characteristics issue. Only the limitation is the Keren. Lama. Because if there will be characteristics issue, that should be the first reason not to learn out from the other avot. Because how do you learn out the other avot? It's called Bameh, How do you learn out from other avot? Bameh Matzinu. Bameh Matzinu. Important to understand, we discussed Rabbi Eliyahu, that it's not considered as Lilmod Mehadin. To learn a Kal Vachomer, you cannot learn on your own. Which means, you cannot say, that's the issue learning halacha from kitzurim. When learning halacha from kitzurim, you cannot have your own mind. Okay, din po kacha, also over there the din will be the same. Because kitzurim, we don't have the logic of it. So when you have no logic, you cannot learn kal vachomer, because kal vachomer builds also into the logic for kal vachomer. But in identical cases, you can compare. Even if you don't know, as long as you know how to compare identical cases, the problem is people sometimes don't compare identical cases. When the Gemara says Bameh Matzinu, you can learn Minadin. An identical case will be the same. So this is really off topic. So going back to ourselves, the way Rashi learns, if Rashi's problem that we don't learn Keren from other avot, it's only because of the payment, not because of their characteristics. So you understand that the characteristics of Keren, it's exactly same as the other nizakim. So he doesn't think that Keren is בחזקת שימור קיימת.
מאיפה הוא לומד חצי נזק קרן, רש"י?
מה אתה אומר?
מאיפה הוא לומד?
לא משנה. That's not our topic.
כי טוב בן אותם אומר לנו.
He learns very clear that there is no characteristics issue. Since he brings the issues of payment,
אז זה לא חשוב איך שהוא משיג את המסק. זאת אומרת, ללימוד עצמו...
If the issue will be characteristics, Rashi would have bring it, which is a better way not to compare.
So he goes based on the bottom line? In other words?
Yeah, also we, meaning we don't want to go into Rashi.
Okay.
So therefore that said, Maharam is emphasizing that according to Rashi, it's not a kashi b'chlal. Because there is no paganism k'mamon knasa, it's not a topic, there is no characteristics, there is only payment. Only according to Rabbeinu Tam that we're dealing with payment, then
Characteristics.
what's the payment? Characteristic. מה paganism k'mamon means? בחזקת שימור, paganism knasa. paganism k'mamon means לא בחזקת שימור, and paganism knasa means בחזקת שימור. This is the Maharam.
Why
Let's
is
read
it
it 1 second inside.
Why is it an issue that Rashi learns about that?
What was the question?
It's not an issue.
What do you
That's
ask?
not a question.
There is no kashi according to Rashi because מחוברת is no different than any other avot.
Why is it no different?
Because the
You
characteristics.
would assume it's
If
Nezek
Rashi
Shalom.
emphasized the difference on payment, not on characteristics, that means characteristics, but there is no difference. What's limited you to say that מחוברת will not learn from other avot, it's only characteristics.
Okay.
Because we don't know that it's חצי נזק yet. So as soon as you don't know חצי נזק, you could have learned מחוברת from other avot.
Because you would have assumed that's Nezek Shalom.
Compared to other avot. If it's similar to other avot, then it would be נזק שלם.
How's it similar to the other Avot?
Both of them, לא בחזקת שימור קיימת.
So it's not Kol Azik.
It's not.
That's what avot and one more. בור and one more. בור and אש. יש דרכו להזיק, but בור אין דרכו להזיק. meaning you could have, the Gemara over there learning it. But the idea is that מחוברת you could have learned from the other avot. Let's see the Maharam. דיבור המתחיל אבל מחוברס. ופורש רבנותם לקמן, דהיינו למאן דאמר, פלגניז כמהו. So, עד יצרכו התוספות להביא בקושייתם פירושו של רבינו תם. What do we need the פירוש של רבינו תם for? משום דלפי פשוטא דהגמרא. קודם simple פשט ובגמורת. דאיתא לקמן, we learn later on, דכאמר רבא, רבא says, עד יקולו בה מהצד, now quoting the Gemara in דף ה', לבר מקרן, except קרן. משום דאיתא למבר, because you can ask over there, this is the Gemara, עד יקולו שכן מועדים לתחילתן, versus קרן that is not מועד מתחילתו. The Gemara over there continued, ולמאן דאמר קרנה עדיפה, דיברנו עוד את קרנה it's more חמור than other נזקים, אפילו קרן נמי עתיה. Even קרן it's also, you can learn also קרן. Now, it's just up to now, Maharam quotes the Gemara. Now says the Maharam, ואם תפרש, if you would have explained, had כאמר לבא מקרן, if you would have explained like Rashi that קרן cannot be learned out from the other avot, משום דאיקה למפרח, מה לכולו, דמועדים לתחילתם כפשוטוי, like the simple pshat of Rashi over there, דרצונו לומר שבתחילתן משלמים נזק שלם, משאין כן בקרן. If you would have learned that it's payment issue, that קרן פייס חצי נזק, and other avot משלמים נזק שלם, then אין כאן מקום לקושיית התוספות. There is no place for the קושיית התוספות. שבכאן over here. The mamakшу, what was the question of Tosfot? The following 4 lines, we're just repeating the kushya of Tosfot. What's the kasha of Tosfot? Mehei titi, from where do we know, the מחוברת, תהיה כולה מועדת לשלם נזק שלם בפעם הראשונה. How do you know the מחוברת always said נזק שלם at the first time? אם מתלושה says Tosfot, you cannot learn, דיו לבא מן הדין, it should be חצי נזק. ואם משאר אבות, התנח למד אמר קרן עדיף at the second one over there, ואפילו קרן עתימה מהצד because it's more חמור, that I can understand, because it's more חמור, אני would have said משלם נזק שלם. למאן דאמר דכולה to the first one over there in the Gemara דף ה' לבד מקרן, משום דאיקה למפרח because you can ask, מה לכולו שכן מועדים מתחילתן, the pshat of the Gemara over there, רצונו לומר שמשלמים נזק שלם בפעם הראשונה, דפי נזק שלם at the first time. If this is how you would explain the words of the Gemara in Daf according to Rashi, that first time you pay, the reason the reason other אבות are חמור, because they pay נזק שלם first time, אם כן, לא את היא מחוברת משאר אבות, לפי זה מחוברת wouldn't be able to be learned from other אבות, גם כן מועדת מתחילתן. So also מחוברת would be מועדת מתחילתן. So if you would have explained the Tosafot's question, he answered the Tosafot's question the way Rashi is learning, that if you hold that כולו עתי לבר מקרן, said if it is because that קרן pays חצי נזק, and others pays נזק שלם, he said, ולמה לא עתה? Why you couldn't learn מחוברת that pays נזק שלם? דהי עצמה שתהיה מחוברת מועדת מתחילתה, the fact that I need to know that מחוברת בכלל היא מועדת מתחילתה, אנו באים עתה למילף משאר אבות. Now, this is the first time we introduced to מחוברת to know, to compare it to others of the אבות. ומה שייך למפרח עלה, מה לכולו שכן מועדים מתחילתן? How can you ask on them מועדים מתחילתן? מועדים מתחילתן can work only on Karen that it's reading in the Torah. But here, that we assume מחוברת is not reading in the Torah, then you don't know that it pays חצי נזק. So you have no problem to learn out from the other אבות. Because מחוברת, we assume, should be נזק שלם.
Why do we assume that?
לפי רש"י.
Oh,
The up to is לפי רש"י. לפי רש"י, that מחוברת pays, לפי רש"י, only Karen that's reading in the Torah pays חצי נזק. מחוברת, we assume here it's not reading in the Torah. Then doesn't pay חצי נזק, נזק שלם. If it pays נזק שלם, you have no problem to learn it out from the other אבות. Because the only reason Rashi doesn't learn from other אבות, because
חצי נזק.
it's חצי נזק. But if מחוברת is not reading in the Torah, it's נזק שלם. If it's נזק שלם, you can learn from the other אבות. So that's what Tefes explained, that the shaila, according to Rashi, is not the shaila בכלל. Because according to Rashi, בכלל, you don't know מחוברת, you don't know מחוברת, you will pay נזק שלם.
There's no שאלה by Rashi.
I still don't understand how you would learn it out from the other Avot. Don't you have to learn it out from a tzad Shabbat?
Yeah, מחוברת שזה צד שווה. Because why it's the reason you're not learning the Gemara, hey, מחוברת? What's the problem of it?
According to
חצי
Rashi,
נזק.
because it's Chatzi Nezek.
Now מחוברת is נזק שלם.
It's Nezek
So you
Shalom.
learn other אבות.
What do you mean now it's nezek shalem?
But if you, the way that you
That's
learn,
what you want it to be, huh?
why are you assuming that it's Nezek Shalom? Why would Rashi assume that it's Nezek Shalom?
בעיה, אתם מחוברת?
Yeah.
Because if it's not reading in the Torah, it's should be נזק שלם. Only if it's reading in
Because
the
it has
Torah, you leave it as...
characteristics of the other?
No, characteristics, nothing. זה לא כתוב בתורה בכלל. It's not reading in the Torah. The case of the Torah is תלושה, not מחוברת.
So then
Rashi refers to תלושה.
But so then, why do you assume that it's Nezek Shalom as opposed to Chatzi Nezek just because it's not written in the Torah?
Yeah, that's my question.
No, because-
That's also my question.
I can learn from the other Avot. I don't know what's the din of it. If you know something is חצי נזק, right away you cannot learn from other Avot. But if you don't know, by default, why being חצי נזק? You would have learned from other
Chatzi
Avot.
Nezek is a Chiddush?
Yes.
But it's a chidush because it's writing it, meaning
If
what?
you look
What's
at I can learn from it.
no, but you already. But,
Let's let me add one more piece.
okay.
You cannot learn from a single Av by itself.
נכון.
So if you would have learned מחוברת from show, from Keren, then מחוברת it's not part of Keren, we also says מחוברת you cannot learn from it. למה? You cannot learn from each Av by itself. You need to have two of them.
Okay,
So if you have מחוברת and you don't know how to learn it out from, you would have learned from the rest of the Avot. You wouldn't assume חצי. Why would you? לא טוב?
Yeah, but you're saying this.
So are you saying that Rashi learns Pagdanis Kamara?
לא, אתה בכלל לא מדבר על זה. פלגה נזקה, אתה לא יודע מה מונה. Since פלגה נזקה, פלגה cannot learn from full. But my מחוברת is full, you can learn from full.
אבל הרב is saying this.
מה השאלה? רש"י doesn't בכלל talk about נזקה או קנסה. Just you're talking about the fact that pays חצי נזק. למה? It doesn't make any difference. Since you pay חצי נזק, you don't learn from it. Since you pay חצי נזק, you cannot learn from נזק שלם. Since
who
you pay.
pays?
Karen,
קרן.
you can't learn
Oh,
from
so you
the
can't learn from a Karen.
No,
can learn from the other אבות.
Right.
Since other אבות is נזק שלם. That's the pshat in the Gemara in Daf.
It's confusing.
Gemara says that we can learn Keren from other אבות. למה?
Okay.
מה she says, because Keren is חצי נזק, and other אבות is נזק שלם.
Okay, מחוברת is that.
לא מדובר שם על מחוברת. מדובר שם על קרן.
That's why you can say you can't learn
Okay.
from some
Now,
Karen.
if Keren means תלושה, So only תלושה is חצי נזק. מחוברת בלי לא נויית, would be נזק שלם.
Okay.
If you have נזק שלם, it could be other avot.
Okay.
So the way Rashi reads the Gemara, you have no question. So
No
the
question
Tosafot's
of-
question, yeah. So this question valid only if you learn, like the Gemara of there, like Abedotam.
What's the point of pointing this out to us?
Because you went to Rashi.
Well, what's the...
Because why that place is a kind of Abedotam? Bring for the Gemara of the Gemara over there that you don't learn Keren from other Avot. You have a problem. You don't learn Mechubar is Keren from other Avot. You don't learn. The emphasize no, the way Rashi learns the Pshat over there, you can learn Keren from other Avot. You can learn Mechuberet. Keren, you don't. Mechuberet is not Keren. You could have learned from the other Avot. Better me? Better me? Fab? Okay, problem?
I can tell what you're doing is you're saying, oh, well, since now bekeren you would think that, or bechatzi keren, I'm sorry, bekeren you're going to pay chatzi nezek, right? You say that Chidush in Torah, you can't use that and say, going back, say, oh, chatzi nezek you're going to pay Korah because in other places you pay keren shalem. How could you use that pasuk and say, oh, you're going to pay chatzi because Torah is telling you? How would you know Nahava Amina that keren you pay chatzi nezek? How in the Hava Amina? טוב, בסדר.
Okay, answer to his face. אבל לפירוש רבנו תם, that's according to Rashi. You have it? אבל פירוש רבנו תם, זה לכמה later on, זה מפרש, he expanded בגמרא, דעת כאמר לבד מקרן, משום דאיקה למפרח שכן מועדין תחילתן. לבד מקרן means that its characteristics. other אבות are מועדים מתחילתן. פירושו שכן כולו דרכן להזיק. ושאין כן בקרן, זה סתם סברים בחזקת שימור קיימי, and they're not really דרכן להזיק. Then the Kushav Tosafot takes place well. מקשים התוספות שפיר, מהיטיתי היי, how would you learn it out from? תתהיה קרן מחוברת, כולה מועדת לשלם נזק שלם בפעם ראשונה. How would you know that קרן מועדת will be קרן מחוברת will be נזק שלם. אם משאר אבות, that will be good. תנך למאן דאמר דסקמני דגמורי קרן עדיפה, דהוא אמר דאמר דאית לפלגניז כממונה ולא כנסה. דיברנו, קרן is better because כנסה, משום דסתם שברים לה בחזקת שימור, קיימי, so it's more חמור, you could have learned. אבל, same thing, you could have learned from מחוברת. אבל, למאן דאמר דכולו עתיה לבד מקרן. First one, that Karen cannot be learned from the other avot. משום דסבירו לפלגניז ככנסה, why it's כנסה? משום דסתם שברים בחזקת שימור קיימה, סתם שברים אז considered being guard. אם כן, איך יעתי קרן מחוברת משאר אבות? How would you learn קרן מחוברת from the other אבות? האיקה למפרח, you can ask, מה לשאר אבות שכן דרכן להזיק? מה שאין כן בקרן מחוברת. You could have said, שר אבות לא שאין להזיק, קרן מחוברת, you don't have שדרכן להזיק. So therefore, this question is valid only according to רבנו תם. I want to ask Kashe a point of the Pnei Yoshua. You didn't see it yet, forgive me, but I think it's the right time to fit it. The Pnei Yoshua asked the following. What is your raya that Palganizka Knasa that we must hold Shvarim בחזקת שימור קיימא? Which daf is a machloket Palganizka Knasa?
Tatvav.
Hey,
I'm saying it just for the sake of the spaces. So we have daf base by us. We have daf hey, where Kulat Yalevar Mikeren, and we have daf tetva. Says the Pnei Yoshua, maybe the whole idea of Palganizka Knasa, it's only after it's written in the Torah. After the Torah said Palganizka, after the Torah says that Meshalem Chatzi Nezek, then we know if you pay Chatzi Nezek Lama, Palganizka, Knasa. So what taught the Tana to understanding that Palganizka Knasa, it's only the din of the Torah. It's the din of the Torah that pays half. But before the Torah, what will be the din? We don't say Palganizka Knasa. Rather, we assume that Stam Shvarim Becheskat Shim, La Becheskat Shim, right? So if you would have learned this stam shvarim la bechezkat shemur kaime, how would you learn the Gemara in Daf Hey? Daf Hey it's before the Torah, nachon?
That you can learn it out from the rest.
So if you're learning before the Torah, the reason you don't learn show sheken muadim mitchilatam, what would be the pshat?
You can learn it.
Because,
But you can learn it out. Not that you cannot learn it out. So on Daf Hey, you can learn out Keren from the other ones.
in Daf Hey,
Because you said initially,
so the Daf Hey, he said if the Torah wouldn't tell me Keren that pays Chatzi Nezek, then I wouldn't be able to learn Keren. Lama? Because I know that באמת after the Torah told me that Keren eats Chatzi Nezek, Chazkat Shemur. So you see, the whole basis of the Gemara in Daf Hey is באמת after the Torah told me that Keren is Bechazkat Shemur, then I have problem in the Gemara over there. But in our Gemara, Daf Beis Amud Beis,
we haven't got the assumption yet.
we haven't got behind the Torah understanding. The Mechuberet, we don't know. We're trying to understand what's the deal of the Torah. Maybe at this point, Bechlal, we don't hold Bechlal Palganis Kaknasa. We don't hold Bechlal the Stam Shvarim Bechazkat Shimur Kaime.
כן יכולים לומר את זה, כי יש את הפסוק של תקיעה.
מה אתה אומר?
יש את הפסוק אחד של תקיעה, אין לי את הפסוק שמדבר על תלושה.
אז הוא אומר שהפסוק של צדקיה would be תלושה.
זה מסמל אלמד,
מה אתה אומר?
מהחצי נזק אני יודע...
So only over there that have גזירת הכתוב, אבל מחוברת have no גזירת הכתוב. What would you think that will be פלגניס כקנסה? Meaning, the shaila is, the premise, הנחה for the question is, the only reason Palganiska, Knasa, and Shvarim Bechezkat Shemur Kaimim, only we're learning it from the Torah. Since the Torah we see is that you pay Chatzi Nezek, must be the Palganiska Knasa, Veshvarim Bechezkat Shemur Kaimim. So anything you don't learn out of the Torah,
לאו בחזקת שמור קיימת.
Bechezkat Shemur Kaimim.
No, but that's what it is. So if that's what it is, so
If you're learning from the Torah that pays Chatzi Nezek, lama? Because it's Knasa. That
נכון.
means Shvarim Bechezkat Shemur
נכון,
Kaimim.
okay.
So if you don't learn out from the Torah, simple understanding Shvarim are what?
לאו בחזקת
לאו בחזקת
שמור.
שמור.
Right.
So מחוברת will be
לאו בחזקת שמור קיימת.
שמור קיימת. So then you have no kasha בכלל. What is your raya from the Gemara over there?
Why don't you have
Gemara over
kasha?
there, it's after I know the Torah.
Why don't you have kasha?
Because באמת מחוברת לאו בחזקת שמור קיימת.
So therefore you pay נזק שלם.
Then you're learning it out from the other Avot. When you have indication in the Torah, this is where you know that לאו בחזקת שמור קיימת. But if you have no indication in the Torah, you wouldn't say בחזקת שמור קיימת. So he said the following. It's a little bit,
Why would he reach that conclusion?
So he said, you see from here, I'm not a fan of this stuff, but by here the right for it. He said, you see from here that Leman De'amar Palganizka Knasa, it's an absolute intelligent which has nothing to do with the Torah.
What does that mean?
Meaning, it's an intelligent approach, not the Torah factual approach. Which means it's a svara. It's an on svara that stam shvarim bechazkat shemur kaima. What's the raya?
סתם שברים בחזקת שימור קיימה is
Yeah,
the סברה.
it's not because of the Torah. Well, it's a svara. If it's a svara, then the question is legit. מחוברת, you have the svara, סתם שימור בחזקת shvarim kaima. סתם shvarim bechazkat shemur kaima, and you cannot learn it out from the other Avot. And he bring a raya to his shita. He said, if the Torah will compel you to say the stam shvarim bechizkat shemur kaima and palganizka mamona, then there will be no man de'amar and palganizka knasa. There will be no man de'amar that palganizka mamona.
Can you elaborate on the last three words? What does it mean? What's the man damar? What's going on?
If
What's
the Torah teaching you the palganizka knasa,
Obviously, no one would say more.
then nobody would say the palganizka mamona.
what do you mean? We say what?
If the only way to learn from the Torah that palganizka knasa,
Okay.
you see the
So
fact
Kal
that
v'chomer?
Chatzi Nezek teaching you that palganizka must be knasa,
Okay.
then you wouldn't have a man da'omar pargan iska mamona.
What is that man damar?
Famous! Man da'omar pargan iska mamona.
But what are you learning from? Meaning,
The pargan iska mamona hold that even though chatzi nezek, yet pargan iska mamona.
okay.
So if chatzi nezek is what's teaching you that pargan iska knasa, there will be no man da'omar pargan iska mamona. So the fact that you see there is man da'omar pargan iska mamona, it's not that the Torah teaching you. You have a pre-assumption, pre-logic to each man da'amar, and based on that he learns the Gemara. So leman da'amar pargan iska mamona, he understood the shvarim be'la b'chazkat shemui kaime, and therefore he understood the Torah. What is chatzi nezek? It's a special courtesy. The man da'amar pargan iska nasa, he has pre-understanding that shvarim b'chazkat shemui kaime before the Torah. That's why the only way he can explain the Torah, according to his understanding, is that pargan iska, why you pay chatzi nezek? If shvarim b'chazkat shemui kaime, why do you pay chatzi nezek?
Knas, right? Because you're really patur, but it's knas.
So therefore,
You're saying he has tosafot, right?
that's a proof that Pnei Yoshua, the leman da'amar pargan iska knasa, it's not because of the Torah. Without the Torah, logically, every shore is
בחזקת שימור קיימא.
בחזקת
שימור קיימא.
שימור.
Why?
לפי זה,
Why?
מה וואי? ככה הוא מבין. He
It's
loves
a domestic-
shvarim,
it's
he
a
has few of
domestic
them at
animal.
home, he has in his dining room
You're saying
2
therefore-
and the bedroom 1 at night. You know, some people know dogs, he knows shvarim.
You're saying that therefore that's why Tosafot had to come and say that it's a chiddush of the Tana rather than the.
עכשיו,
Yeah?
לפי זה, לא, לפי זה, we have a big problem. לפי זה, what's the answer of tosafot? The way we're explaining it now, the Tana already understood the shvarim without the Torah בחזקת שימור קיימא. נכון? So לפי זה, what's the answer of tosafot?
שלא תתבלבל.
The Hava Amina was that,
נגיחה.
what was the answer of tosafot? The Tana, I would have thought
Because
it's
the
not
Torah
part of
comes to teach
Nekicha.
us, the Tana comes to
Right,
teach
I would have
us.
thought it's not part of Nekicha, it's not part of the characteristics of show. But mashmala that it is part of Nekicha, it has the characteristics. But the way he learns, it's part of the, it's a pre-assumption, נכון? It's a pre-understanding, pre-definition, not assumption.
So we just
It's a
bring the concept of the
pre-definition that always, למען דאמר פרgan iska mamona, even without the Torah, still בחזקת שימור קיימא.
ממונה?
No, knasa.
Okay, you said ממונה.
The whole answer of Tosfot, the whole answer of Tosfos, that you write before, we thought it's not part of Negicha, so we didn't know the characteristics is Bechazkat Shimon. But the Tana is teaching you, by the way, it is part of the Torah. That's the way we learned it, that's the way the Maram entered. But the way the Maram entered, you have a problem with the way the Pnei Yeshua learns, that this understanding of La Bechazkat Shimur Kaime, it's not from the Torah. Rather, it is his own mind. So even before the Torah, it was always Bechazkat Shimur Kaime. So without the Torah telling you anything about Mechuberet, Shvarim Bechazkat Shimur Kaime. If so, you cannot ever learn, you cannot learn out from the other Avot. So the Torus of Tosafot is not going to work.
It will. Because then that shows.
What's the Torus of Tosafot?
That is the
Let me
Tana,
say,
it's not the crop.
let me say it in one word. The Torus of Tosafot is, on the Ava Amina, I thought it's not part of Negicha. Lamaskana, it is part of Negicha. Now, what's the gain of Tosafot? L'Ava Amina, it's not part of Negicha. Biglal, if it's not part of Negicha in Ava Amina, then you have no characteristics. Then you can learn Mechuberet from other Avot.
Right.
But as soon as the answer, it's part of Negicha, so you cannot learn from other Avot.
Okay.
But the way the Yeshua learns that the characteristics has nothing to do if it's part of Negicha or not. It's a general Shvarim Bechazkat Shimur Kaime. Has nothing to do if it's part of Negicha or not. If so, the answer of Tosfos is not going to work.
נכון.
Yeah, it'll still fit.
Ugh.
Because that's why Tosfot said it's a chidush of the Tana.
Okay, so
If you say it's a chidush of the Tana, and then the Tana realizes that no,
Well,
it's
okay.
actually chidush of the
But
Torah,
the
then
Tana
that fits
thought,
with Pnei Yeshua.
no. What's the answer of Tosfot? That I would have thought that it's part of Negicha. Kamashmana, that it's not part of Negicha. I'm sorry, I would have thought it's
Opposite,
not
yeah.
part of Negicha, so you could have learned from other Avot. Kamashmana, that it's part of Negicha.
Why would you think that it's not for Negicha? Because
Because-
Shimur Kaimim, right?
No.
בחזקת שימור
Not
קיימים.
part of נגיחה, then you don't have the logic of בחזקת שימור קיימים. Because the all בחזקת שימור קיימים is only by נגיחה, the way tosafot learns. If it's not part of נגיחה, you don't have בחזקת שימור קיימים, so you could have learned מחוברת from other אבות.
But he brought the answer of Negicha only after you explained it.
Again, but
נגיחה,
the
the
maskana of
שימור
tosafot doesn't work, it doesn't work, Shlomo. So therefore, the Pnei Yoshua learns בכלל different than tosafot. You ready? It says the Pnei Yoshua, he learns like what the Marsham is, what's the Maharam is bavorning. Bavorning. So what's the pshat? He says the following. He says, we understand that everything is in the Torah. Meaning, the Tana thought at the beginning that Palgan is Kamamona. If Palgan is Kamamona, שברים, נבלע בחזקת שימור קיימי. רק למסכונה, פלגה נזקה, קנסה. So therefore, שברים בחזקת שימור קיימי. And it's part of נגיחה.
But then that's an issue.
Obviously it's an issue. But again, what's it? So he learns בכלל that the
That's
Ava
the Pnei
meaning
Yeshua?
the
That's the-
Torah,
that's the
that's
Pnei
Pnei Yeshua. The Ava meaning the Torah, the Shvarim means Palgan is Kamamona. If Palgan is Kamamona, then Shvarim, La Becheskat Shimur Kaima, and you could have learned Mechuberet from other Avot. But Maskana אומר התנא לא, שברים it's
בחזקת שימור קיימים.
if בחזקת שימור קיימא, it's the old category of נגיחות. If it's part of נגיחה, then you cannot learn from other אבות, ובאמת מחוברת also will pay חצי נזק.
The connection between נגיחה and בחזקת שימור קיימים is where?
נגיחה,
נגיחה בחזקת שימור קיימים. Where's the connection between
if
that?
you learn פלגניס כממונה,
If you?
if you learn the פלגניס כממונה,
Okay.
you have no problem to learn מחוברת.
לעבוד. יפה.
נכון? If you learn the פלגניס
קנס, אה?
כנסה. So באמת, in the Ava meaning we thought Palganis כממון. In the Ava meaning we thought Palganis כממונה, and then מחוברת learn from other אבות. אז כהונה, Palganis only כנסה. Since it's כנסה, you couldn't learn מחוברת from other אבות, so how do you know מחוברת? פסוק, זה לא הכתוב.
אז הגזרת לכתוב.
So let's see now the Marsho, which he brings what's the Pnei Yoshua Bavorning? No, meaning, what's Marsho Bavorning? He brings the Pnei Yoshua, then he brings his own pshat. מהר"ם, מחילה. באמצע דבריו, this is the last part,
Which
מהר"ם, באמצע דבריו, לאו משום די צריך קרא להשמועינן, אלא התנא יצטרך להשמועינן. It's not the pasuk is teaching us, just the Tana is teaching us. Why? כתבו התוספות, כן? משום די באנו לפרש דהקרא יצטרך, that we need a pasuk to teach you, שלא תיתן לומר דפלגניס כממונה, אבה אמינא מחוברת כולה מועדת לפלגניס כממונה, don't think like that. אם כן תיק שלך, דעה שנה מהשמועינן, דאפילו קרן מחוברת, because even if this is how you think, that דאבה אמינא פלגניס כממונה, and now he's teaching us, דאפילו קרן מחוברת, לא משלמת מתחילתה, אלא עדיין חצי נזק. So if you would have thought that the Ava Amina is, don't think Palganis Mamona. But rather I'm giving you a raya, the Palganis Knasa. What's the raya from the Torah Palganis Knasa? Because
גזרת הכתוב.
גזרת הכתוב. עדיין ניקה למיתי. You still, even if you, עדיין you can think that Palganis Mamona. לומר שחצי נזק הוא ממון. What? Why? Even after the pasuk. The pasuk is not issued by Palganis Knasa. Because even after the pasuk, you can still say Palganis Mamona. דלמאן דאמר דסבירה לאופן רניס כממונה, the one לאופן רניס כממון, גם סבירה לי, דאין חילוק בין תלושה ובין מחוברת. You understand, there is no difference between תלושה and מחוברת, ואפילו מחוברת אינה מועדת מתחילתה לשלם נזק שלם. Although, according to him, there is no difference, both of them are לה בחזקת שימור, yet we need is still the payment is חצי נזק כנזק שלם. ואפילו אחי סבירלו דפלגניס כממונה הוא.
Because
So even למאן דאמר פלגניס כקנסה,
B'mona.
פלגניס כממונה, meaning you can learn our Gemara even פלגניס כממונה.
מחצי
But
נזק.
even by ממונה we see that pays חצי נזק, even though שברים לה בחזקת שימור קיימה. So you have no raya from here that Palganis Keknasa because you could have learned also that Palganis Keknasa. Therefore, if Alatana Kai Shapir, it's not part of the Torah, rather it's part of the Tana. I need 5 more minutes. I just want to go quick through the Rashbo. So B'ez Hashem, you have, it's important to go through the Maharam well. When you know the Maharam by heart, like Asher Jovesecho, then you know that you learn how to learn Tosafot. But if it's easy to go to the next one, next Rishonim. I'm giving you training, by the way, just because I see some people have some time, so they should entertain, at least we go vital. But the Chatchila, just go teach this again, the Maharam again and again, to live it. You cannot live it without Maharam. So we have Maharam, we have the Pnei Yoshua to see, but I want to bring the basic stuff, because I asked to do Maharam Bekalman, so our next year is Monday. So we have Friday, Sunday, and Monday day to go through the Maharam Bekalman. We asked a question by the name of the Rashbo. We said, Ava Amina Kula Muedeti. So we know the Mechuberet, it's different than classic Keren. So the Rashbo asked the following question: what would you think that Mechuberet would be Muedet? Maybe Mechuberet would be less than Shlusha, and always will pay Chatzi Nezek, even after 3 times. So why your assumption is that Mechuberet will pay Nezek Shalem? We have 3 options, either נזק שלם, חצי נזק, or first, טעם חצי נזק and one נזק שלם. So why would you pick out that? You're trying to say that it's not like טעם one, נכון? So why would you assume נזק שלם? Let's say, we'll pay חצי נזק, as we have a rule, that בממונות I always go לכולה. The first answer of Rashbo that we spoke about that on Thursday, that even בממונות I go לחול. That's not our topic. Second answer of Rashbo is the following. He says, that we have a rule, אין עונשין מן הדין. Because, לא, סליחה. The answer of Rashbo is, it's a קל וחומר. If by תלושה, pays חצי נזק and נזק שלם, cannot be that מחוברת will pay less. Because מחוברת is much more חמור. פרק the Rashbo, we have a rule, אין עונשין מן הדין. You can be עונש מן הדין. פרק זה שואל.
אחרי זה דיקשנרי.
פרק the Rashbo, we have a rule, אין עונשין מן הדין. You don't give punishment from the din. What's the din? When you have something in the Torah says נגיחה pays, you use logic, קל וחומר, and we have no קל וחומר. On din, that's a din. You have עונשין מן הדין. So he answered the following. He said, how do we know that עונשין מן הדין? That the Tosafot in Amud Aleph we saw it also. That the Torah says, כי יפתח ישבור, וכי יכרה. Somebody open an existing bow, and וכי יכרה, even somebody dig the new bow. So it says, אם על כורך היה, על פתיחה, כל שכן. If it's חייב for digging, כל שכן חייב, you just open something in a pre-existing chair, אלא מה, ללמדך שאין עונשין מן הדין. Says the Rashbo, when we are saying שאין עונשין מן הדין, only when you have a big chidush. What's a big chidush means? Bor, it says, Bor, it's a big chidush. Lama, it's a big chidush.
The pasuk is the big chidush?
No.
Or the characteristics of the bor?
The din that Bor chayav, it's a big chidush. You bring few reasons. Number one,
People come to him for the damage.
very good. People come to him for the damage. Another thing, we have Rabbi Shmuel says, שתי דברים אינם ברשותו של אדם, בעשרה כתוב כאילו ברשותו. חמץ בפסח ובור ברשות הרבים. It's not yours. The Torah made it to be yours. So that's another chidush. And another chidush אין דרכו ללך ולהזיק. Another chidush that הוא נזק בא לחלל הבור. And so he said, the reason אין אנשים מן הדין is only because from a chidush you cannot learn קל וחומר. Because chidush has limitation to its own characteristic. Something is strange. You have something that is not belong to him as if it's belong to him. You don't learn kal vachomer. You don't learn minadin. Said bayas is not a chidush. This is a regular logic. So therefore bayas onshin minadin. This is the...
You're saying that חצי נזק...
חצי נזק it's not חידוש, ולכן ביעש עונשים מן הדין. So you can use a קל וחומר to say that if תלושה are not paying חצי נזק always, כל שכן מחוברת not paying חצי נזק always. This is the Rashi. Open, please, the תוספות ראש.
He's saying that it's not...
אם הבנת, אז אל תשאל אותי שאלה, כי אני לחוץ בזמן. תביא זה כפי שעובד, I don't know what's today. Okay, open תוספות ראש, you have it at the end, it looks like that. אוקיי, נמצא. אבל במחוברת אימא כולה מועדת היא. הדף הראשון. So, אבל במחוברת jump in the middle. תוספות הראש, כן. הראשון, מצד ימין למטה. כן. אבל במחוברת רבי יהודה ממיץ. ורבי יצחק, רבי יהודה הנערב. This is, תסתכל פה. Okay, so read the first part of Tosafot. He said, by the way, that the first answer, he answered the Tosafot's question very simple. He said, let's do the re. The re ממיץ מתרת. ורי ממיץ, באמצע, תהיה בדעת after the close parenthesis. ורי ממיץ מתרץ, דהה חמיירי, אליבא דמן דאמר פלגניסקה ממונה. He has no problem בכלל למאן דאמר. Tosafot's problem is למאן דאמר, כניאס what you're going to say. He said, no, our sugya is למאן דאמר פלגניסקה ממונה. אבל למאן answer the question of Tosafot. למאן דאמר פלגניסקה כנסה, how מחוברת גופי נזק שלם? So he said, דאח אמר אליבא דמן דאמר פלגניסקה בכלל ממונה. אבל למאן דאמר פלגניסקה כנסה, יהיה פטור לגמרי. מחוברת will be completely פטור. למה? דמי תלושה לא גמרינן, דין לך בו אלא חידושו. מתלושה you cannot learn, it's a חידוש, that pays חצי נזק. והיא עתיה מקרן, וחד מענך, to learn from one of the avot you can't. מקרן ובו, you cannot learn it out from קרן ובו, אם כן, לא מחייב הכלים. קרן ובו, you not חייב הכלים. מקרן באש, אם כן, you cannot learn, לא מחייב התמון, something that healing is not going to be חייב. מקרן בשם ברגל, אם כן, לא מחייב ברשות הרבים. So it's just saying that the issues of the Gemara in Daf Hey, that מחוברת wouldn't be, if you learn the פלגניסקה כנסה, you cannot learn בכלל מחוברת from anything. So it's not like תלושה, because תלושה זה חידוש בתלושה. We don't know it by, we don't know the חידוש by מחוברת. אין לך בלה חידושו. You cannot learn out שלום שלם כלום. Meaning, you cannot learn out that pays from one of the avot because it's not similar to them. So it says, לפי זה, למה דומה פלגניסקה כנסרי ממיץ הולד שלא משלם כלום. He said, ועד הנקת תלמוד הדלו כהלכתה. תרמור says in that ט"ו עמוד ב' והלכתה פלגניסקה כנסה. כנסה. Take a look later. The Gemara says, ועד הנקת תלמוד הדלו כהלכתה משום דסוגיה עתה לפירוש מילתא דרב פאפא. The Gemara comes to explain the opinion of Rav Papa. והוא הסביר עליה פלגניסקה ממונה. Since we're talking about Rav Papa, in that ט"ו Rav Papa is the one who hold פלגניסקה ממונה. This Gemara is אמר Rav Papa, יש מהם כיוצא בהם ויש מהם ולאו כיוצא בהם. We're talking about Rav Papa. So since we're talking about Rav Papa, we're talking about למאן דאמר פלגניסקה ממונה all over סוגיה. למאן דאמר פלגניסקה כנסה, you have no problem. So Rabbi said, listen. He just said that any חיובים או תלושה, what is what? Why cannot learn out of תלושה? אין לך בו אלא חידושו. Which means that the whole idea that תלושה pays חצי נזק זה חידוש. How would the answer of the Rashba will take place? What Rashba was answer? The reason אין עונשים מן הדין by a ball because it's a חידוש.
Not a chidush.
By Bo, it's a chidush. By us, it's not a chidush. But by us, it's a chidush! If by us it's a chidush, the answer of Rashba doesn't take place. Who?
Rashba said Chatzi Nezik is
Yeah, but
No, that's a problem. But that's not a chidush. Because you don't pay full price. So what's the Rashba B'chal answer that you cannot learn B'chlal from? That you can make Kal Vachomer in our case, and not only in the chidush. Even in our case, it's a chidush.
maybe it's not a big
Yes,
כל היום? פסטה נהיית ככה, אחי.